Okay, today we're going to make some smoked ribs, some baby back ribs. Just wanted to show you how I set up the grill to do that. Have some old used charcoal that's already in here. We're going to get it started, get a nice base, get this a nice red glow color, and then I'll show you how I add wood and additional charcoal to it to get a nice smoke. We'll check back on it here in a few minutes. Okay, here's what we're going to be putting on the smoker today. I have 6 racks of baby back ribs, and here's how I prepared them. I've let them sort of marinate, if you will, overnight. So you take the membrane off the back, then I put a little bit of mustard. You might see a yellow in the pan there, a little bit of just yellow prepared mustard, and spread that on the meat on both sides. And the vinegar in there helps make the ribs a little bit more tender. I think it's the acidity in the vinegar. Then I put the spices and my rub on there, and then, like I said, just let it sit overnight. One tip is to keep the meat in the refrigerator until you put it on the grill. I've learned that it'll only absorb smoke until the meat temperature reaches about 130, 140 degrees. So if you want a smokier temperature, take it right out of the refrigerator, put it right on the grill, and that's what we're about to do. Then also, here's my wood chips. That's about how many I'll use, or wood chunks. And that's just hickory. I let it smoke overnight. So I'll drain off the water, and I'll show you what I do with that here in just a couple minutes. Okay, so now you can see what those coals look like. You can see in reference to the base of the green egg how much I used. You don't need a lot for this, and then I'll show you how I start to add everything else in. So here's all the items that we need for today. I have my wood chips. I'll put those on, or wood chunks, here in just a second. Then after I put that on, I'm going to add some more charcoal over the top. Then I'll put my plate setter on, leg side up. Then I'm going to use the bottom pan that I have here, aluminum, and I'll put that on top of the plate setter below the rack. Then I'm going to fill it with some water, and I think that just helps steam the ribs and help make them a little bit tender, and also it keeps all the fat and grease and stuff off of the plate setter, makes it a little cleaner. Then I'll put the regular grill on, and then I have my rib rack. And today I'm doing 6 slabs of ribs, so those will all fit in there real nicely. So I'll get started and show you what that looks like. Okay, there's how you just put the wood chunks on top. Now I'll put more fresh charcoal right over the top. Okay, you can see I just added charcoal just to cover all the wood blocks. You can see it's starting to smoke, so let me get the stuff, all the rest of the items put on there, and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so here's the setup. You can see I have the aluminum pan in there with my water, and then just the regular grate. You can see the plate setter in there, and then I'll just put the ribs on the rib rack, and I'll show you once I get all that in there as well too. Okay, as you can see, the ribs are on, all 6 slabs, and I tried to place them on there so that any drippings would go down into the pan. You can see I start to have the smoke going really good, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the lid and get it up to temperature. Now I'm going to try to do these a little hotter, about 300 degrees for 3 hours. I'll do it for an hour on this side, I'll come back and flip them, do it for an hour, and then I'm going to wrap them in foil and put them back on, and I'll show you that all the way through. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the settings. Here's about how open I have the daisy wheel at the top, just to get started. You can see I just closed the lid, and we're just a little over 100 degrees. And then for my setting down here, I have it open about that far. So I'm going to let this go for about 10 minutes. I'll come back and check it, and then I'll start to reduce how much air I let flow through, so I just get a nice even smoke and just hold that temperature. Well, it's been 10 minutes. You can see it's still smoking pretty well. I haven't changed either of the settings in that 10 minutes time, and we're only up to about 200 degrees. So I'm going to start to turn this back a little bit, and give it another 10 minutes or so, and I'll check it. Like I said, I don't want to get too hot, but I want it to be up 275 to 300 degrees. It's been about 30 minutes. You can still see I have smoke coming out of the top. Kind of see the setting, how wide open I have it up top, and then what my setting looks like down below. That's about how much airflow I've had go through. And I'm up to about 250 degrees. So I'll just go ahead and let that kind of sit there for a while. And after they've been on there for about an hour, I'll flip them over, and I'll also spritz them with a little apple juice. So I'll show you that when I do that here in about a half hour. Okay, it's been an hour, so I'm going to flip these, and I also like to spritz them with a little apple juice. So I'm going to spritz them with apple juice just to help with the moisture, and then I'll also flip them over, just end over end. So I have them all flipped over end to end, and like I said, you don't have to do that, but it just kind of makes them a little more uniform on the color. And now I'll put them in for another hour, and then I'll wrap them in foil, and I'll show you when I do that. Okay, so we have just over 2 hours on the smoker. You can see my temperature's finally up close to 300 degrees. Since I didn't have it at 300 the whole time, I'll need to cook it a little longer than 3 hours total. So I cooked them for an hour. Then I flipped them over and spritzed some apple juice on there, and then now you can see what they look like here. So I'm going to take them off one at a time, then I'll take them inside and show you how I double wrap them in foil and what I put on there to finish them off. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the apple juice and spritz it on the ribs just a little bit, and then as you can see I have some liquid margarine and some honey that I'll put on there as well. So I'll show you how I do all this. Okay, so I have my ribs on the foil. I have 2 pieces of foil here because I'm going to wrap them twice. So I just kind of spritz this a little bit, just give them a little moisture. About like that's plenty. And then all I'll do is take some of the liquid margarine, just kind of get that on there about like that. Just gives it a little flavor and a little bit of moisture. And then I take the honey and kind of drizzle it on, and that'll give it a little sweet and also adds a little moisture as well. So once I get this all wrapped up, that should be good. Then I'll just seal it up. And like I said, I like to seal it twice, just to make sure. Sometimes these ribs poke holes in the foil. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so here's this one wrapped up. I try to get it nice and tight at the top and on the ends. And then my second piece, I do it basically the same way. Just try to get it good and tight. And there we go. So now what I'll do is, as I get all 6 of these, or sometimes I'll only do 3, I can either put them back on the egg or put them in the oven. So today, I'm just going to put them in the oven at 300 for about an hour. So I'll do that with the rest of them, and then I'll show you after I take them out of the oven. Okay, I've taken the ribs out of the oven. I had them in the oven for just over an hour at 300 degrees, double wrapped in foil. And then after I pulled them out of the oven, I let them sit for about a half hour. So let me open this up, show you what it looks like. There's quite a bit of moisture typically in here, so I want to show that to you. And then you may want to keep that, especially if you need to reheat these for another time. So that's what the final product looks like. You can see there's a fair amount of moisture in there, so I'll get them cut and we'll enjoy them. Okay, there we have it. There's 3 slabs of ribs, and now I'll cut them and we'll enjoy. It's as easy as that.